Hello and welcome to Health Live at Seniors Today. What you're seeing here is the cover of the May 15th issue of Seniors Today magazine. And our cover story is about no negativity, no doom scrolling, no anxiety, and no loneliness. The last few months have seen various health concerns taking over the nation. And we were wondering whether there's a way to escape the doom and gloom. So the May 15th issue has an essay by Mr. Vikram Sethi, our publisher and editor-in-chief. And I would urge you to read it. It offers some solutions. It offers some ideas to look at things differently. And we thought it would be a good time to also invite our, if I might say, our psychoanalyst in residence or at large, yeah, and who's always there available to us, and invite her to speak to all of you and to address queries that may have come in. We've already got quite a few queries. For those of you who have not met with Dr. Das earlier, she's a chartered psychologist, a chartered scientist, and an associate fellow of the British Psychological Society. She has counted tens of thousands of individuals in a span of over 2 decades and has published several papers in both Indian and international journals. She, as you know, has been conducting our monthly counseling forums, which have been exceedingly popular and which have been very well received. And we are here again because the situation demands it. And the topic that we have for today is dealing with anxiety, loneliness, and negativity given COVID-19. Welcome to Health Live at Seniors Today, Dr. Das.
Good evening, everyone. I was just trying to open up the write-up which Mr. Sethi has written. And I just wanted to start with what he has ended with. His final sentence in his essay or his write-up, his ideas. He says, if this is not the wrath of God, what is? This is what Mr. Sethi finishes off with. Many people have been holding discussions on various angles of COVID-19, the kind of experiences that we are having and having to face, rather. There are various ideas around, pros and cons being discussed, people who should be held responsible, people who should not be held responsible. But at the end of the day, if you look back at history and really analyze what goes on, every so often, we have something like this happening. Now, it may not be a pandemic. It could be a world war. We've had 2 world wars in the past. It could be, the Spanish pandemic, which came about 100 years ago, approximately. So we have this taking place all the time. And in one way, if you look at it philosophically, it's a way of, at least this is my opinion, I'm giving you my opinion. I think it's a way of life telling us, or the universe telling us, or God telling us that what is happening presently is probably not what it should be, or what he likes or she likes. Just giving it to you in very simple terms. So in many ways, what is right, what is wrong, eventually we have to face it.
Right.
The way we face it is the issue. The topic for today, as Sir had announced, was dealing with anxiety, loneliness, and negativity. Before we get into the question and answer session, which I would love to deal with, the first thing for you to do is, there are 4 rules you need to follow through this pandemic. And if you like, write it down. I hope you can hear me, all of you. The first is you need to stay informed, but not too informed. Meaning, don't spend all your time on television watching the news all day because you know what's going on. So stay informed, spend 10 to 15 minutes, catch up with what you have to, and then switch off. So that's rule number one for the pandemic for everyone, including me, by the way. The second rule is you have to learn to distract yourself. Find things to do, keep busy, but distract yourself. The moment you start feeling uneasy or negative, you know, that uneasiness which you feel inside you. The third rule, and very important one, is don't panic. Now, I know it's easier said than done, but the third rule is don't panic. And the last one is, and will always be, look on the brighter side of things.
Absolutely. I think
look on the brighter side of things.
Absolutely. I think the brighter side is what one has to look at. But, you know, Dr. Das, we've been having these sessions over the last year, and it is now for real. Yeah, it is now for real. And much as we might say that we want to ward off all the negativity, the fact is that it has come now closer home. And, you know, the kind of questions that we received, and I would urge people to send questions on the Q&A tab in case you don't want your identity to be revealed. We will not do it. In fact, we're not going to reveal any identity. So even if you've not been able to send it anonymously, we will not reveal any identity. But we have, you know, a dozen odd questions already, and for people who have come in. So can I get to the questions directly?
Please. Yes.
So the first question is, my 86-year-old mother gets very anxious whenever she hears an ambulance siren. Often there are two of them. I'm 56 and listening to her even, I have started feeling anxious. What does the person do?
Well, the first question is, if you're staying with your mother, it's very important for you not to pass on your anxiety to her. You know, whatever you are anxious about, you have to steel yourself. Discuss it with somebody your age, you know, somebody who's around your age, but don't panic an elderly person. This is very important. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, hearing sirens is going to be a matter of fact in today's life. Okay, I'm sorry, but this is what the scenario is at present. Every time you hear a siren, rather than, you know, this panic attack that you get, or rather than feeling uneasy, I want you to bless the person, because somebody is having a tough time. So in other words, what you're doing is you're pushing your mind to bless an individual who is in that ambulance. You're blessing them in the hope that they stay safe and survive, you know, whatever ordeal they're going through. You are also learning to bless yourself, and that is important. So as much as you reach out to the world, you end up blessing yourself. And it's very important to start blessing people around you, because the more you bless them, the more you will get back. The more you get back, the more easier you will start feeling. This is the second thing. The third thing is, play some soft music through the day in your home, you know, over and above the siren sounds, so that it's not too audible, particularly for your mother. It's fantastic that she can hear these siren sounds at the age of 86. So that means her hearing is amazing. So, you know, try and play some music for her so that it sort of supersedes the sounds of the siren. The main thing for all of us today is to try and stay as positive as we can, considering what is going on. And you have to, I mean, as a youngster at 56, You have to steel yourself so that you help her live the remaining years of her life as comfortably and as best as she can without panicking. Remember, she's at the end stage of this game, you know, so she needs to remain happy and comforted as best as she can till this whole thing has played itself out, you know, the virus. This is important.
Right. Thank you. I think you know, the sirens are there, and especially in the cities, they can be very disconcerting. Our next question is: last year was bad, but this year has been worse, as people in my family and friends are in ICU in pretty bad shape. A few of them have died. How can I not be anxious?
No, it's very normal to be anxious. We all get anxious, but remember, we get anxious when something is hitting us closer to home. Even if it's happening on the street next door to us, we feel bad, we feel concerned, but it's not there right in our face. So what are you anxious about? Are you anxious about dying? Are you anxious about getting the virus? Are you just anxious because you suddenly feel uneasy and you don't know, you feel helpless? So it can be a yes for all these questions. The point is, why do you get anxious? Why? You see, I've said this in my previous sessions. The people who are getting anxious are the ones who don't have much to do.
Right.
I'm being very blunt here. If you don't have much to do, you've got time on your hands, you're sitting in a chair, and then you start panicking and you start wondering what to do. The people who can handle the anxiety happens to all of us, anxious situations. You have to get around it. You have to find a solution. The solution is friends. The solution is family, close family members who you get on with. The solution is keeping busy. The solution is exercising. The solution is eating well and sleeping well. These are all very normal things that we have to do right throughout this pandemic. You don't have a choice. None of us have a choice. So as long as we are doing all these things correctly, including taking all our medicines, etc., vitamins, what are you anxious about? And why are you anxious? That's the main question. Anxiety, by the way, is in one's head. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't come out from the air. It's all built inside the head.
Right. We have a question from Vinod G, who asks, loneliness and negativity are mostly correlated. I know you've kind of answered this question, but you know, he asked about how can one get positive and stay calm, but any effective and simple techniques that you would recommend?
Yes. So I've been doing some pranic healing lately. I don't know how many of you are into pranic healing, but this is what I've been doing. And in pranic healing, they have a fantastic meditation called the Twin Hearts meditation. I've spoken about meditation in the past, and you know, several friends have asked me, how do you meditate? Master Chokok Sui, who's actually the founder of pranic healing, modern pranic healing, you can find the Twin Hearts meditation, the basic version, and you'll find it on YouTube. Initially, you'll find it strange the first couple of times when you listen to him, but it helps you to calm down. So I'm talking about meditation, a guided meditation with this person. That's the first thing. The second thing is, in terms of loneliness, none of us are going to be able to get out of this. Now, I don't know whether you live in a flat or in a house. I'm assuming you're in a flat, and it's restricted in terms of you moving out. but find a way where your society agrees for some of the elderly people to just move around the compound at night, because you need to just feel that freedom of being able to move around. You're all used to it. We go shopping with an idea, with a purpose. You step out to buy, chocolates or whatever. You do it not because you want to eat the chocolate. You do it because you want to get out of the house. You need a break. You need a change of scene. And you need to try and figure out some solutions for the elderly within your setup where you all live, so that there's a little more activity involved rather than you being restricted within the flat. I'm talking about people who don't have gardens, etc. Okay, if you have a garden, you're lucky. You can move around. You can do stuff. Now, loneliness is a huge issue for the elderly, partially because maybe because they're on their own. You're on your own. Maybe because your children haven't been able to access you quickly. Maybe because you've chosen to be on your own and you don't want to be around other people. You have to FaceTime. You have to get onto WhatsApp. You have to, use technology today in order to stay in touch. This is important. It's extremely important to stay connected with people, because this is our lifeline, by the way, as human beings. We all need people around us. So it's very important to stay in touch. If you have a regular routine, with that routine every day, ring a friend, a particular relative, somebody or the other, every day. So you spend 10 minutes chatting with somebody, morning and in the evening, with the rest of the routine that you have during the day. Negativity, I'm still answering your question. Negativity has to be replaced with positivity. Any negative idea has to be replaced immediately with a positive one. So if you have fear setting in, find a prayer book, sit down, pray. Immediately you will start feeling a certain sense of calm. If you find yourself getting negative, catch hold of a grandchild who's, if you've got grandchildren in the same house that you live in, catch hold, play a game. There are loads of board games, Monopoly, and other board games which these kids enjoy. Get into it, play. So get yourself distracted the moment you start feeling negative. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to, at the end of the session, I'm going to urge you to show some exercise, show some meditation stuff that you have done in the past. Mr. Sanjay Bhatia, I've seen your question, but since it is not COVID related, I'm not going to ask you this. We will, of course, send it to Dr. Das later and request her if she can answer it later. We have a question from Mr. Damasceno Santa Maria. I hope I've got the pronunciation right. I know it's wrong. Vaccines have created more problems than solutions. Comments, is it safe to take or just let it be? He's 80. There are a few questions on vaccinations. I know it's a little unfair on you because this is not the topic, but there is a fear about vaccinations. There's another question which is from Harjinder Singh, who asks, vaccine should be taken or avoided because nobody knows which vaccine is advisable without its side effects. It's confusing. And we have another question from a person who says, my wife and I have taken both the shots, but I'm still not sure of the prevention from the virus. What more should I do?
Right. So basically, I'll amalgamate all the questions into my answer. In the month of January, I wasn't keen on taking the vaccine. I'm hitting 60 in the month of August, by the way. So I wasn't keen on taking the vaccine. I wasn't interested. I'd sort of switched off in terms of, taking the vaccine. By the end of February, I had decided I needed to take the vaccine because of what was happening around me. So on the 4th of March, I took my first shot. What I'm trying to tell you is the vaccine is important, even at the age of 80. Take your first shot, and after 6 to 8 weeks, take your second shot. But in consultation with your doctor. not me, in consultation with your GP, because if you have a blood pressure problem, supposing somebody's got cancer, I'm just giving you some random things. You know, sometimes the vaccine doesn't agree. Supposing you're undergoing cancer treatment, for example, the vaccine may not agree. In which case you'll have a bigger problem on your hands, and then, you know, we may lose you. So it's important to take the advice of your doctor if you have any of these issues, even diabetes, even something like diabetes, you need to consult your doctor on his advice or her advice. Take the shot. So my advice is take the shot if you're hale and hearty. In terms of the vaccine being useful or not useful, none of us know. None of us can even second guess. But from what I have understood, even if any of us get the virus after the second shot, any of us, apparently they say that it will have a less effect on us. So the virus, in other words, will not hit us as badly as it would somebody who's not had the vaccine. This is what I have understood. Okay. So it's important to take that vaccine. Now, in terms of what you should do, and I mentioned this before, a healthy lifestyle is a must. A very healthy lifestyle. So we're not just talking about eating and you know, having healthy drinks and exercising. Mentally, you need to be fit. Emotionally, you need to be charged. And spiritually, of course, all of you, I'm sure all of you are doing what you have to do. But if you are doing what you have to do, why is there the negativity? You have to question yourself. If you're saying your prayers and if you're really in touch, why are you negative about the whole thing? What are we anxious about? We're anxious about dying. Is that what we're all anxious about? Are we anxious about the fact that we have to leave all this stuff behind and go on an onward journey? I can't tell you the number of horror stories that I've heard from several friends over the last 5 or 6 weeks since we've interacted online. But all those stories have ended in deep sadness. And you can only feel empathy for the people who have lost their loved ones. So it's very important for you to take this vaccine and to stay as upbeat as you can.
Right.
Have I answered all 3 questions?
Yeah, you have. And I think, you know, we've had health webinar sessions every week. And as doctors have said every week in our webinar section, in fact, we'll just put in the link to the webinars. And we've had some, you know, top doctors from various Mumbai hospitals speaking to us. They've all underscored the need for the vaccination.
Yeah.
What they do also say is that the entire science about, you know, which vaccine is effective and what is the distance between you know, how many weeks, etc., that are there. Now that is evolving. I must tell you this, Dr. Das, that I have 2 nieces. One of them is in the US and the other is in Canada. And the niece in the US has had 2 jabs of the same Pfizer vaccine at with a gap of 3 weeks. And the niece in Canada has had her first jab and has been told to come after 16 weeks.
Yeah.
So the vagueness and the, you know, the rules are different, not just in a country like India. They are what they are even in the advanced world. Yeah?
Absolutely.
So, you know, those of you who might want to just damn the country and say, what the hell, we are where we are. But, you know, this is something that I've seen, you know, up close and real, because I've had people from the family who've done this, who've been through this. We have a question from someone who says, my son has nearly lost his job, his employer having put him on leave without pay. My daughter-in-law is still working, but we don't know her future. This has resulted in a fear on how we will survive. My son has recently bought a flat and has very heavy EMIs. What I think what he's looking for is some advice on
Solution.
how he should.
I feel really bad for you, so whoever has sent this question in, and there are many such like stories. The first thing I would recommend very strongly, you may not like this, depending on the location of the flat, I would suggest that you rent it out. So at least you get some of the money to pay your EMIs off. Because selling the flat at this point of time doesn't make sense. The second thing is to probably move away from where you are into a slightly a less expensive location and rent a place. So even if you have to move out a bit, do that. The question of you is getting your son getting, the point of your son getting his job back, he may not. There are many companies who have in fact put their staff on 50%. We are blessed where I am. We have been getting our salaries right throughout regardless. And I have to thank God for that. So it depends on, what you're doing, where you are, the circumstances, and maybe blessings that one gets. But the most important thing is lessen the stress on yourself. So you have to rent out this flat. Easier said than done, but you need to think a little more practically on this, because if you can't live in the flat and just keep worrying, because you'll be going around in circles in a catch-22. So you need to start finding solutions. Now, the other thing is, even though your son may be off his job, he can do something else. He can start looking at something else. Now, we may not find the kind of jobs that we have in our mind and that we're used to doing. Go down 2 or 3 steps down the ladder and see what you can find. Some money in hand may help out. So start thinking of something, another alternative instead of just depending on companies to help you out. Okay. What was there was something in this question which I think I've missed out, sir.
This is
the daughter-in-law is working.
The daughter-in-law is working, but he doesn't know about the future of her job.
Yeah. So I've answered it then. I think you need to lessen the tension first by finding a solution in terms of leasing out this flat to maybe a company or somebody. So at least half the battle is won. Not half the battle, but at least half your problems are solved. Then you find solutions to other things. Your son getting another kind of job in the meantime till his company picks up. Your daughter-in-law will have to carry on with what she's doing, and you hope for the best. But worrying is not going to serve you anything. Finding a solution is. And I feel this is the best way of tackling this right now.
Right. We have a suggestion that's come from one of our regular attendees, Mr. Gurdeep Straw, who says, when we know death is inevitable, why are people scared of it, especially the senior citizens who have fulfilled their worldly obligations? I'm going to leave the question to you, but I would say, Mr. Straw, your obligations haven't got over. It's just because you're a senior doesn't mean we don't expect things from you. So please don't think that you've, all your work is done. And the way the country is going, the way the world is going, it is perhaps people, voices of reason such as yourselves that are guiding us at all. So don't have this attitude, but I do agree with what you're saying, and I'll leave it to Dr. Das to answer.
Well, I agree with you 100%, but it's easier said than done. You're still worried about what's going to happen on the other side. We don't know. We only know that if we live our lives as best as we can and as correctly as we can, and we do all the things that we have to do because this is what we are meant to do in our life, we can only hope for the best.
I'm going to interrupt you, and I'm going to, there's another question that has come in, which says, second wave, third and fourth wave later, this looks like Kali Yuga. So is that true?
They say Kali Yuga is ending in 2025.
That's
We're already, by the way, it's actually a cycle, the
Right.
yugs, and we're already on our way upwards towards Treta Yuga. So we've in fact passed the the middle area of Kali Yuga. We've coming towards the end of it, and we're going upwards towards Treta Yuga, as far as I remember. So that's something to look forward to. We may not be alive at that time, but point is we're still getting out of it. So what is Kali Yuga? It goes back to what Mr. Sethi has written in his last line. The wrath of the gods, the way we live our life. Are we facing a punishment at this point of time? Are we responsible for what has happened? You know, we need to question ourselves. Are we responsible for what has happened? Have we just taken everything for granted in the last 50, 60, 70 years without thinking about what was going to happen? Even a simple story like Noah's Ark, which is in the Bible, by the way, they talk about the same thing, where he took everything, every species 2 by 2 onto a boat. And that was the end. I mean, they were sailing on this while the world flooded over, and everybody died. So when I started the initial part of this conversation, there's always a positive and a negative. There's always good and bad. There are peaks and troughs in our life. And at this point of time, it may be a trough, but there's so much you can do. You have time on your hands to learn. Have I told you about Udemy? I'm changing topics a bit.
I don't think you have.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Udemy is an excellent platform for online learning.
That's right.
Okay. And I really sincerely would like, I don't know how many.
You have mentioned, but I think I would suggest that given the different context, you should speak about it again.
Oh, no. So I'm just going to speak about it in a very simple fashion. Get onto Udemy and look at the online classes that they're holding and find something of interest. They've got such a huge variety of courses. I can't tell you. You are bound to find something which will interest you. And it's never too late, even at the age of 80 or 85, to be doing something new, to be learning something new. As Sir said, your time is not up. Your time is up when God decides it. Till then, you have to keep going. So please check out Udemy.
Right. Thank you.
Can I give you some more suggestions?
Yeah, please, and then the exercise, if you can, because I think most of the questions are similar.
Yeah.
So you just kind of.
I want you all to, you've got the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. You've got the Guggenheim, etc. So many of them hold virtual tours. If you register yourself, you can go through a virtual tour. So if you're interested in art, if you're interested in things like this, distract yourself. There's something called the Gresham lecture series. It's held by Gresham College. I may have mentioned this earlier. It's based in the UK, but they hold the most amazing talks held by people right from spirituality to science to culture, art and culture. But the point is there's so much of learning to do. So when sirens are going off and when there's deep loneliness and sadness and there's negativity setting in, start doing something with that time which is there on your hands. I can send these details to Pradyuman, and he will certainly forward it to all of you.
Yeah, we have, in fact, somebody asked me for the URL and I put it over there.
Yeah, correct.
I think it is udemy.com, but in case Udemy is a keyword that you should look at. thank you very much once again. I would request you to close this session with perhaps some meditation that we could all do as a group, and look at your gentle words of advice that you could leave behind for everyone.
I want to do a breathing exercise. I'm going to write down the chant which I want you to check on. So I'm going to type it out here while.
Twin Hearts Meditation Master Chokul Sweet.
This is a Buddhist chant. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. I don't know how many of you have heard of it, but it's a Buddhist chant. And this is another one. You'll find them on YouTube. Don't try and download it because it's illegal. No, I'll be starting the exercises, the breathing technique. Don't download these, but just get onto YouTube and listen to them and just chant. Right. So I'm going to do the breathing exercise. The first is a very simple breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, breathe in, hold, breathe. You're going to do this 3 times. And this is to calm your nerves down when you're feeling anxious. Okay. So the moment you find anxiety setting in, a sense of uneasiness, nervousness, let's practice this. So you close your eyes, breathe in deeply. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold for 1 count. Breathe out slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold for 1 count. Breathe in again. Hold. Breathe out. Hold. So you'll find your stomach contracting and expanding. At least 3 of these, if not 5. It'll just calm your nerves down, calm you down before so that you're able to think a little more rationally. The second breathing exercise is a 7-1-7-1. So you breathe in for 7 counts, hold for 1, breathe out for 7, hold for 1. This is easy also. So you breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hold, 1, 2, breathe out, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hold. Breathe in for 7 counts, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hold. Breathe out, 4, 5, 6, 7, hold. Again, 3 to 5 times. If you can practice this regularly, it will calm your nerves down, and that feeling of anxiousness would at least go. The meditations which I have mentioned are very good. I mentioned to Mr. Maheshwari that I was very happy to start a WhatsApp group. I don't know if it's the appropriate place to let you know, but if you want to connect with me, I'm very happy to have several of you on a group, provided we keep it proper and happy, etc. so that at least you're connecting with somebody that you're familiar with for this period of time, you know, till you're able to start managing on your own again. So I'm very happy to do that. And if you all are interested, I'm going to give you my phone number, or shall I give it to Mr. Maheshwari? What do you think is better, sir?
Either of them is fine, you know, because it
Right.
will be difficult.
So I'm sending out my phone number.
Right.
So this WhatsApp group is basically a group where we're interacting without any politics being brought into this group, mainly to keep you energized, positive. And I'll give you a mini exercise to do every day, something very simple. For example, as I mentioned, you know, it could be repotting a plant. If you have the time and energy, one can do it. So I'm just giving you a basic example. I really would like you to connect, because I feel that, and even if there are 5 of you on the WhatsApp group, I have no problem with that. But if I can help you in any way through this period of time, at least in terms of easing out the pressure emotionally and mentally, I'll be very happy to do that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I think we have...
Are we done with all the questions?
Yes, we are done with all the questions. I think we've lost you. Your frame has frozen.
I'll come back.
Thankfully, we are done with all the questions, so your
Okay.
voice can be heard.
Okay.
So thanks once again for this. We have Dr. Monika Dass's phone number over here. We'll just need to work out the logistics of the WhatsApp group, because you know WhatsApp is a free for all, and we would like everybody to take advantage of this. At the same time, we don't want it to become, you know, just information sharing, etc. So we'll work out that, and I know we've had one person who has registered, who has evinced interest here, and we'll be happy to have you up on the group. Thank you once again, Dr. Das, for being here. I think we've lost you, though we can see you. Oh yeah, we can see you now. And thank you once again for always being around, and this suggestion that you would like to set this up. And you know, we have 3-4 people who have already expressed their interest, so we would have them on, and you know, and then let's hope it works. Thank you once again, Dr. Das, and thank you to everyone here. You know, I know these are tough times on people, and let's just hope that we are able to brace with all the odds that exist. Let's hope you know, God gives us the strength, and we are able to overcome. And thank you once again. Thank you once again, Dr. Das. Right.
Will you send them? I mean, should I start the WhatsApp group?
I will set it up. I will set it up, and I will. You know, I have some numbers already there.
Yeah, I would really like to connect.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Super. Right. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. Bye-bye.